It was my birthday, and my mother-in-law gave me a trip to the sea for me and my wife, but with the condition that she would go with her. She even showed me the third voucher. We started to thank her, and she said she had her own interest in this gift. Turns out, she had just broken up with her boyfriend and needed a distraction, but she didn't want to go alone. She has always been full of surprises, and this was another example of her spontaneity. Despite the awkwardness of the situation, we couldn't help but admire her resilience and her ability to turn things around so quickly. My mother-in-law is one of a kind. Olivia, my wife, was born prematurely, and when you see them together, you'd think they were sisters. It's hard to tell which one is older. They share the same infectious laugh and youthful energy. Disappointed in love at a young age, my mother-in-law never married, but she changed men like gloves, and they were not ordinary men. They were always powerful, successful, and charming. She had a good career and now enjoyed her own pleasures, traveling, fine dining, and anything else she liked. A week before we left, Olivia returned from work and informed us that her seaside holiday was unfortunately canceled. Management had offered her the promotion she was looking forward to, but she had to travel to another city to finalize an important contract. She couldn't pass up this opportunity, even if it meant missing our trip. I told her I wouldn't go without her, but she insisted I go. She knew how much I was looking forward to the break and didn't want me to miss it because of my work commitments. So, we flew to India, and my mother-in-law and I checked into a luxury hotel. It was a stunning place with a grand lobby, marble floors, and gorgeous chandeliers. As we were heading to our rooms, she caught my hand and said, "Honey, everyone deserves their own pleasure. I'll keep my nose out of your business, and you do the same for me, okay?" She patted my cheek playfully and left for her room, swaying her curves seductively. I didn't say anything back, feeling a mixture of amusement and confusion. To be honest, I liked this turn of events, but I remembered that I was married and that my mother-in-law was around, so I tried to stay calm. In the evening, I decided to take it easy. I ordered dinner in the room, went out on the veranda overlooking the sea, and drank with pleasure, feeling like an oligarch. The view was amazing. The moonlight reflected off the waves and the light breeze rustled the palm trees. There was a knock on the door. I thought it was room service and called out to them. But instead, it was my mother-in-law, Hannah, standing there with a bottle of whiskey in her hand, energetic, tanned, and absolutely stunning, her smile dazzling. She was wearing a flowing dress that emphasized her figure, and her hair was perfectly styled. Without waiting for an invitation, she elegantly sat down in the chair across from me. "Forgot about your poor relative, huh?" "Where's Olivia?" she teased. I knew she hated it when I addressed her too formally, but I couldn't resist pushing her buttons. "Oh, hush." She wrinkled her nose adorably. "Why are you sitting here alone? Where's your blonde mermaid?" I looked away, slightly embarrassed, and she laughed, patting me on the shoulder as if to comfort me. The rest of the evening went wonderfully. We talked a lot about all sorts of things. She told me stories from her youth, her adventures, and even some heartbreaks. Hannah proved to be quite an interesting conversationalist, full of wit and charm. She had a way of drawing you in, making you feel like you were the only person in the world. It was past midnight when I suggested we part ways, given the early morning flight. Without saying a word, she gracefully stood up, looked me straight in the eye, and then, without hesitation, sat on my lap and began kissing me on the pike slowly and gently. It was like an electric shock, a wave of passion that swept over me. From that moment on, I lost control of myself. The warmth of her body, the softness of her lips, all of it overwhelmed me. My mind was torn between the thrill of the moment and the guilt of betraying my wife. But in that moment, all rational thoughts seemed to vanish, replaced by a deep, primal desire I couldn't suppress. We were lost in the moment, the world around us disappearing as we gave in to our emotions. The next morning passed like a blur. We hardly spoke as we made our way to the airport, both of us immersed in our own thoughts. There was an unspoken understanding between us. We couldn't take back what had happened the night before, but we couldn't dwell on it either. As we boarded the plane, Hannah smiled weakly at me, but there was still a hint of mischief in her eyes. I couldn't help but wonder how this trip would affect our future relationship, whether it would be the start of something new or just a fleeting moment of passion